morning, everybody. It is a super windy and rough day here. We came to Lighthouse Point on Sanibel. You can see the causeway here in the distance going over the bridge to Sanibel Island. It is absolutely crazy windy, and I just want to turn around and show you how close I am to the lighthouse here. Let me try to zoom out so you guys can see just how close the water is here. Hello, everybody. So here's like where the tide's coming in, and it's not even high tide yet, and how close it is to Lighthouse. So lots of beach erosion going on. And one of the things that's unique about what I do with virtual shelling, and I'm trying to find a way to block the wind, so let me see if I can come over here. One of the things that is unique about virtual shelling and what I do is you guys are virtually shelling. So if you were to go to the beach today, this is what you would see, right? And I came to the beach today to film. I came to the beach today to shell. And sometimes there's just not a lot here. Sometimes you're gonna have crazy waves. Sometimes it's gonna be high tide. Sometimes you're just not gonna have a whole lot to look at and to sift through on the beach, right? So we have a couple options. Number one, we go to another beach, right? We go to the West End, we go somewhere else on the East End, we go to Turner Beach over by Captiva. You might have to find another beach to go to. You guys see the osprey taking something to his nest up there. The other option is we walk, right? So there was nothing really down this way, and it was super windy on this side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk down up and around towards the pier. And let me kind of come down here to see if you guys can see the pier. I might not be able to get further enough out, but the pier is right around this corner. So we're gonna head down there. We're gonna see what is down by the pier, and then we're going to get our shell on. Regardless of what's around, I'm gonna show you guys how we can find shells even on a crazy, windy, and wavy day like today. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay guys, so we're walking down a little ways, and I just wanted to show you. This used to be beach here, but with the changing of the topography, we'll say, because beach erosion is a big thing here. And if you check out my episode on beach erosion, I go over what causes it, why it happens, and give you examples. Especially here on the barrier islands, the sand and beaches change all the time. So if you guys can see, we're very close to, it's like here's the water, here's the road, right? And so what we have to do is we can either spend money renourishing beaches and putting more sand, or in this case, they want to ensure that the roadway won't wash away. So they create these shorelines, and so they have these big concrete boulders, and then they put these natural rock in here. And what it's going to do is it's going to prevent the waves from washing out any of this road. So you can see right here just how close the waves get to the roadway here. And I'm going to give you guys just a quick view, and you guys can stop your pause the video if you want to read this, but this just tells a little bit about it. And I'm just going to come here so you guys can kind of pause and read if you would like to read a little bit about what they're doing.
These guys pulled out, so we'll try their spot.
All right, guys, I don't know if you can see the lighthouse through the trees here, right there. But it's super, super windy out here. If you guys can see, the waves are rocking and rolling, bringing in a lot of seaweed, which is great. But it's not super great for shelling or filming. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk on the other side of the pier over here, and I'm gonna see if I can get out of this wind and find us some cool things to look through. All right, guys, so here's the pier, and we walk down to this side of the bay area. You guys can see the causeway there in the distance that runs area, this stretch of beach, is you don't always find a lot of like big shells. A lot of times they just don't get all the way around the corner here. We do find some awesome shells here depending on the day, but if you can see, this is a really popular wash up area. Okay, so there's usually a really good rack line here. Hello! And what I'm gonna show you guys is up here, you're gonna have some really good shell piles that form right up here. So if you can see all the waves wash in, and they form these big shell mounds. Look at these shell mounds. And I'll show you on the other side here. You guys see all of these shell, look at it. See how it's just pushing the shells up there and forming a shell pile. So this is a great little area to check out for shells. And over here you can see even more shell piles, right? But what I want to show you guys is sometimes there's just not a lot of shells that are highly sought after. So you guys look, pushing up the shells. And I think that that's when people come here. Oh, it's windy. People come here and they're like, oh, you know, can't find any shells. But like these are all shells, right? Like all of these are like, this is like tons of shells. So what I like to tell you to do is don't just look for like the highly sought after shells, right? You've got to take what you can get. Like if you go out fishing and you're fishing for snook and you're not catching any snook, you can still have fun catching like, you know, trout or ladyfish or snapper or whatever else, right? Like if you're not catching like the fish of the day and you're not catching dinner, like it's still okay. So what I like to do is, you know, just sit down in your shell pile and just kind of look and see what is here. And I'm going to give you guys some ID on common shells, and I'm also going to show you guys what you can do with these common shells. So here's a nice piece of driftwood just sitting here. It even has a little barnacle on it here, which is kind of fun. So that's always really nice. We'll throw that in the shell bag. Ooh, it's windy. And here's a little slipper shell or an Indian boat. So these are really common shells. I mean, over here, if you guys look, I mean, you'll find these all over. And they come in different sizes, shapes, patterns. Here's another one here that has kind of a more of a unique pattern on it. And these are so fun. Here's a darker one here. Darker and a little flatter, a little more flat. And over here, we've got a couple more. 1, 2, 3. Here's a little baby one here. Here's 4. Here's another one. So these slipper shells are fun, and they're shells. And you can really almost always find slipper shells. They're so abundant. And they're a fun shell to craft with. They're a fun shell to collect. It's just they're common. Oh, here's one of the ones with the little speckles on the bottom, right? And here's another little mini one. And then here's a variety that has a texture pattern. So I'm not exactly sure. It looks like a slipper shell, but it's some type of either subspecies. But see how it has like that textured pattern? It's not smooth and it's shaped a little differently. The little seed is broken, but that's really cool. So just sitting here, I've got a whole handful of slipper shells. So that is one kind of shell. Oh, here's a really cool one too. Look at this one. This one's a little broken, but I've got so many, I'm dropping them out of my hand. This is a cool pattern. Look at that. That's cool. So just to show you guys, here's another one and another one here that you can find these slipper shells. I mean, I have so many, I'm dropping them out of my hand. Here's another speckled one. Find the fun varieties of these shells. So these are your slipper shells or Indian boats. as I like to call them. And like I said, I'm sitting right here. I haven't even moved because I'm sitting down and I'm picking up more than I can hold. Okay, I came down on the other side of this wall right here because I think this will block the wind a little bit. So we're in this little pile here, which is kind of nice because it's in the shade a little bit. So lots of slipper shells, right? So the next shell that we are going to look for is coquinas. And so many people are obsessed with coquinas because they're so fun to find. You can find these all over the island. So right here is one that is intact, and they're the little butterflies. So this one looks kind of like white, but when you flip it over, it's got a beautiful peachy color. Here's another one right here, a little one that's purple. These come in literally every color. They come in yellow, orange, like a orange red, purple, blue, light blue, pink, peach. Uh-oh, kind of stuck together. I can't get it apart. Let's see if I can, there we go. So here's the little purple one here. Oop. Okay, so here's the little purple one. Super cute. Sometimes you'll find them intact, like the butterfly, and sometimes they will just be separate. So if you look here, here's one right here. Here's a really pretty purple one. Here's another pretty little purple one here. So these are fun to find because try to find all the colors. Try to find one of every color. And these make such fun crafting shells. Even if you don't have the butterfly, like you don't have them intact, they still make great crafting shells. Here's one, I think that has sometimes they have like a striped pattern to them too. So that's really fun. Oh, it looks like here's another, is this another little intact one here? Ooh, that's a pretty one. Look at that one. That is pretty. So these make a fun craft for making a shadow box, putting all the butterflies, little butterflies in a shadow box. Here's a light colored one right here. You can also use the butterflies as butterflies on like a canvas. But if you set your mind to finding coquinas, you will find them. Like your eye will go to them. Here's a yellow one right here. It's pretty yellow. Look at that one. That one's beautiful. And then here's another one that's intact right here. Oops, I broke it. That's okay. We'll match it back up when we get home. Drop the other little piece. They're very fragile when they dry out. So that hinge ligament that holds them together is very fragile. Let's see if this one is alive. So if you can't open it up, it's usually alive. You got to throw it back. But if you can open it up, then it's good. So this one's really pretty. But this hinge ligament right here, let me show you, that holds the shell together. Can you see it right there? Kind of easier if you see it on the other side. There you go. Let me zoom in. Can you guys see that hinge ligament right there? So that's what holds the shell together, and that is what is very fragile. When it dries out, it gets very brittle, and that's with any bivalve. That's with clam shells, cockle shells, sunray Venus clams. You want to be very careful that when these dry out, they get hard, like it'll stay like this. So you want to lay them out to dry in the position you want them to stay. And then I usually put a little dot of glue on the back just to reinforce that hinge. Now, if you have an intact bivalve, I don't recommend bleaching them because the bleach will disintegrate that tissue, which is that hinge ligament, and then they'll come apart. So I don't recommend bleaching bivalves. Just wash them by hand. If you do need to bleach them, if they're really stinky or really gross, like very diluted bleach for like 10 minutes should be plenty, and rinse really well. So that's another really cool shell to find that's very, very abundant here, anywhere on the island. Okay, so next, oh, look at this. Hold on, I gotta show you this pretty one. See, now I've got my eye on coquinas. If you get a shell on the brain, you'll look how pretty these are. You'll start to see them, like you'll start to just see them everywhere. Like here's a little slipper shell Indian boat right here. Look how pretty this one is. Perfect little one. Okay, So it's very easy to just think about coquinas, and all of a sudden you're gonna start to find like all the different sizes and colors and everything else. Okay, so the next shell that we're gonna talk about that is really, really common to find is kitten paws. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this little turkey wing. Look how cute! Oh my gosh. Look at this little baby turkey wing. Isn't that adorable? Okay, that caught my eye for a minute. All right, kitten paws. So, same thing. They are very abundant all over the island. You can pretty much find them anywhere you look. You just have to keep in your head, I want to find kitten paws. And oops, it just blew right out of my hand. Here it is. And they come in all kinds of shapes and sizes and color variety. Orange to light orange to dark red. Let me come over here. Kind of scooch over so you guys might be able to see a little bit better. Oh, here's a little bubble shell. This is another fun shell to find too, the bubble shell. They make fun craft shells to make pussy willows. So if you think about, oh, here's a little hair walk too. See, you'll never know what you find if you just sit down and start shelling, right? You just sit down and start looking for shells, you'll find all kinds of fun things. So if I put my camera right here and you guys think about, oh, here's a limpet. See, I'm getting all distracted because now there's a bunch of shells. I mean, look at, you guys love limpets. Nobody ever finds limpets, and here's a limpet right here, right? Oh my gosh, let me put this in my bag. Okay, so if you put your mind to kitten paws and you just start to look, you'll start to see kitten paws. This one's kind of a little bit rough looking. Here's a little one right here. So kitten paws are really fun because they come in all kind of sizes and shapes, just like kitten paws in real life come in all sizes and shapes, right? Here's another one hiding right here. Sometimes they have multiple toes, sometimes they're all orange, sometimes they're dark red, sometimes they're white. Here's a little piece of one. Here's a little chunky one right here. Look how cute. So kitten paws are also a really fun shell to craft with. A lot of people make kitten paw Christmas trees where you take the kitten paws and glue them around there's a little piece of one right here. A styrofoam tree form, and it makes a really fun gift, especially if you've got like a cat lover in your life and you need a gift for them. That just makes a really fun, here's another cute one, a really fun craft project and a really fun gift for like a cat lover is to have all the little kitten paws. So kitten paws for sure, they're really abundant. You can find them anywhere, and that is another shell that you can set your mind to and look for. Oh, here's another slipper shell. Look at this one. Look how pretty that one is with the spots. Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so pretty. Here's another one hiding. This one's got a little hole in it. All right, so let's move on. Another really common shell to find is augers. So as I look and say auger, here's an auger right here. You can find these all over the island as well. They're very obviously a great craft for like snowman noses. If you craft and you make Christmas ornaments, you paint these orange and then you get a nice snowman nose. Here's another one right here. Very abundant all over the island. Let's see, here's another one right here. So these are augers. They're very kind of closely related to serifs. Oh, here's a dark little kitten paw. Look at this one. Cute. And I'll see if I can find a serif for you guys. I don't see any right now, but if I come across one, I'll let you guys know. They're a little bit lighter, a little bit thicker, and they have more texture. Do you guys see any serifs? All right, well, maybe we'll come across one. Another super popular shell that I'm actually not seeing a ton of here is gonna be just your classic calico scallop. So these are pretty abundant all over the island. I'm not seeing a ton here. It doesn't mean that there aren't any. It just means where I'm sitting. Oh, here's a cute little coquina. I'm just not finding a ton of them, but you know, they're definitely one of my favorite shells to pick up. And those are ones that you will be able to find in every shape and size and color all over the island. Looks like here's one over here. It's a little scallop, little kind of yellowish scallop right here. So it kind of all just depends on where you are. But scallops are usually very readily available, and there might just not be that many right here. Oh, here's a seraph in this little section. Here's a scallop, perfect. Okay, so here's your calico scallop. So really common, ton of variety, ton of ideas to craft with them. They make great picture frames. They make great shell mirrors. You can do the shell Christmas trees with them. They're really fun. This is gonna be your seraph shell. So it's gonna kind of be related to your auger. It looks very similar, but it's got more of a texture and it's got kind of a different aperture opening here. But these are really fun too to also look for. And as I sit here, let me put these in my shell bag. I want to show you guys that there are carditas, which is a shell that in my opinion is kind of underrated. This one has a hole in it. They look sort of like a turkey wing. They've got kind of the same pattern. Let's see if we can grab another one here. This one. Oh, and here's one too. So some of them have like a spotted pattern. Some of them will be more solid in color, but these are really awesome to craft with also. They just make a fun filler shell for shell mirrors, for picture frames. They make good edging too. So if you make a shell mirror or shell picture frame, you usually want something all around the edge to give it a nice border. So I recommend these, or you can use these little arc shells here. Okay, these are really, really popular. Oh, here's another cardita too. Really, really popular to use for the borders of picture frames. They are so readily available. And you can do so much with them too. So these little guys here, there's different varieties of arc shell, but these are so great to use to border your picture frame or your mirror. And there's a bajillion of them. I mean, most of the shells, that's what these are. So speaking of arc shells, if you come out here and you literally are like, I just am having a hard time finding shells and I'm frustrated and I came here on vacation and it's just not a great shelling day. Ooh, look at this teeny tiny little baby auger. Look how cute. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. But if you're very frustrated and you're like, I really want to go shelling and I'm having a hard time, this is what you need to do. You need to get a project for yourself, right? So you need to come down to the beach and you need to find a little pile or walk the beach, look for something like coquinas to make a shell box, give yourself a challenge, or you can come and you can collect these arc shells. Now, these ones that are about like the size of my thumb here, so I can like kind of stick my thumb right in there, these are a perfect size to make shell lights. So you get a bunch of these. Now, here's the key, okay? You have to find ones that are pairs. So like that one and this one, okay? So these are both the same side. We've got to find one that's the opposite side, like that, okay? And you take these home and you get fairy lights. You get fairy lights from Hobby Lobby or the craft store. You can order them on Amazon. And you take these, get that little shell out of there, and you put one of the fairy lights in here. And then you find a shell that matches. It doesn't have to match perfectly, but it just needs to be about the same size. And you can glue, I prefer hot glue, but you can use whatever glue you want to glue these together, okay? And then when you plug them in and turn them on, it lights up the shell. And it's so fun. But you're gonna need a lot of these and they have to match. So this is a really good way for you to have something to do, to look for if you can't find a bunch of shells, or maybe it's really wavy that day, or there's not a lot on the beach. Here's another little pair here. So you would flip one over, you would put in your little light, you'd put this one on the other side like this to make a little box, and then you glue it together. And this is such a fun craft project, and I literally could sit here all day looking for these shells. So here's one. I gotta find the other side, and it's kind of tough because you'll be surprised at how many it'll take you to find, not only that are a right and a left, but ones that are, you know, not broken, or this one has like a line in it, and I'm going to show you that more in a second. Here's one that looks a little bit better. So we'll take this one and we'll take that, put it together. Okay, these aren't exact. The one's a little bit big, but it'll give you a challenge and something to do. Now, the other thing you can do if you're really ambitious and you really have some time down here is you can go with the larger size arc shells like this, and you can use Christmas lights, like your standard Christmas lights, and you can use different colors. So if you take, you know, you've got to find a right and a left, right? So these are the same direction. Let's see if we can find, see, look at that. It's really hard and a challenge to find some. Here's one that's the other way. So let's see which one matches the best. Probably this. So you would flip it over, you'd put in a Christmas light, and you'd put this here, and you'd glue it together. And then you'll have your shell lights. And they really truly are so fun, but you need a lot of these shells. I mean, you need a lot of, and they need to be a little bit big because you have to be able to fit the light inside of the shell. But this is another really fun project. If you're looking for shelling, you want to shell and you want to find some fun shells, this is a great shell, because they're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere on every single beach all the time. You can find arc shells like this. Okay, so let me find the one that I was just looking at. This is another really fun shelling adventure. Okay, so sometimes you'll find creatures like drills or sponges, other shells that bore holes in shells like this. So usually a moon snail or a shark eye makes a perfectly round hole like this. I'm not an expert at identifying holes made by shells, because drills also make a hole, but it depends on the size of the hole and then how the hole is drilled. If it's like sharp edges or more kind of you see how it's like sharp on the inside, but it's kind of has a ring around the outside. And some people can determine what type of shell actually drilled that hole to eat this animal. But you'll have different patterns, and what you can do is create a word like love or Sanibel or shelling, or if you're really ambitious, you know, I love shelling. But you know, you kind of have to use your imagination. Like this could be an eye, the eye with the dot at the top. You see that? This could just be the bottom of an exclamation point or a period at the end of your word, like that. But it's harder than you'd think to find shells. Here's another one that looks like an eye there. It's harder than you think to find shells with letters. So a lot of people have, and I'll try to find some examples to share with you, but a lot of people have done shell letters, and they're really fun. It's just, oh, here's another I. I seems to be the common letter of the day here. But it's really hard. It's hard to find all the letters you need. Like if you're doing Sanibel, you've got to find an S, right? And that can be really tough. Here's another little Coquina. Here's one that I'm not really sure what letter this is. This is like a backwards L, or maybe a J. I don't know what. Oh, there you go. There's an L. There's an L right there. Sometimes you got to flip them around to see the letter. But yeah, you know, and then you're looking for imperfect shells, right? Because ooh, there's lots of eyes. Look at that, another eye. But this is a really fun way to look for shells, because you can literally sit here in this pile and give yourself something to look for. You know, instead of just looking for the big whelks and the horse conchs and the tulips and stuff, you're able to look for imperfect shells and create a word or create a letter or a phrase or somebody's name. That's always really fun too. Here's a perfect little yellow, look at this one, little yellow coquina, how cute. I could sit in the shell pile literally all day and just look for these common shells and give myself a challenge of coming up with a word to put in a shadow box or to frame. Kitten paws everywhere, kitten paws, kitten paws. And the more you dig around, the more shells you'll find. I just touched on some, you know, some common shells that just kind of came to mind. Here's another really pretty, oops, broken half. Let me see if I can grab that other piece. I think I lost it. I think it's gone down the shell hole. Here's a little auger though, right here. Okay, but there's other common shells too, like jingle shells, right? Here's a black jingle shell. Black, yellow, orange. They come in silver. They're really fun because they make great crafting shells too. They're kind of iridescent looking and shiny, and they're super easy to craft with because they're very thin. Here's another little kitten paw here. So jingle shells are great. Cockles, this is a yellow cockle, super pretty. They have bright yellow, usually even brighter yellow on the other side. They're super common to find as well. You have a lot of these Venus clams, so there's different varieties. Some of them have a pattern and are brown. Some of them are purple like this that are really pretty. They're even, you know, darker on the other side. They're super, super common. Here's another one right here. Okay, so those are other shells that, you know, people overlook. They overlook these. If you love the color purple, I mean, hello, you've got purple shells all over the place. Look at this one. This one's super pretty. So when people come to the beach, you know, depending on, oh, here's a little wormy, little worm shell right here. We don't find those very often here. People come to the beach and, you know, it's not always ideal shelling weather. It's not, you know, you might have crazy rough waves, or maybe you haven't had a recent storm, or you're just staying at a beach where there's just not a lot of activity, but you can look up and down the beach. You can find some awesome shells. I don't even, oh, is this one of those? I gotta look closer when I get home. I think this is, oh, I thought it was a ladder horn, but I don't think it is. Look how cool. You'll never know what kind of cool shells you're gonna find just sitting in a shell pile and just going through. Look at this, we got a Wendell trap. Look at this beautiful, perfect, big and perfect and beautiful Wendell trap. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, gorgeous. So, I mean, I'm just sitting here and just kind of slowly digging through shells, and, you know, I might not find a, you know, a Junonia or a giant horse conch or a true tulip, but maybe I will. I don't really know. There could be something buried under here. Here's a little jewelry box. So spiny jewelry boxes are another common shell that are super fun to find. Sometimes you'll find them with great spines. Sometimes you'll find them, this one's really not that unique on the underside, but sometimes you'll find them and they're bright purple underneath that are really pretty. So don't ever think that, you know, just because there's not a ton of shells right on the beach that you can't go take a beach walk and find some really cool finds. There's another little seraph. Oh, here's a little whelk right here. And I haven't moved, you guys. I'm just sitting here in the same pile. Here's a little Cardita, so cute. And I'm just kind of slowly digging through this little pile. What is this right here? Is this a little oyster shell? Cute little oyster shell. Just to see what I'm gonna find. And you know, minis, tinies, crafting shells. There's so many shells to be found here on this island. You just have to take a beach walk, find a little shell pile, you know, sit down, sift through it. You will be so amazed at the different shells that you'll find if you just take the time to sit down and look. Look at this gorgeous coquina. Oh my gosh, let me see if I can get this one without dropping it and losing it. Look how pretty it is intact. Let me see if I can open it. Look how pretty. It's so neat with that pattern, kind of yellow and orange and peach. Just beautiful. I love coquinas. I just love them. Here's another little slipper shell or Indian boat. Here's a little seraph, I'm sorry, a little auger right here. I mean, there's just so many fun shells that you can find. Just sitting here digging through the shell pile. So I hope that this was really helpful. I know that a lot of people come to a beach on vacation, in any beach, and they're hoping to find shells, and sometimes you're disappointed because you don't have a big storm wash up, or the waves are too rough to shell the break line. I get it, I've been there before, but you can still find some fun shells. Look at this one. This one has a perfect little hole here for a necklace. So if you have kids, grandkids, put a little string in there, make them a little necklace. That's super fun. They love that. So many fun shells to find. I mean, I could stay here all day. Here's another kitten paw, just sifting through these shells and picking up the same variety of shells that I've showed you today. Here's another little seraph right here. And the more I move the shells around, the more I'm gonna uncover and find. So you just never know. Look at this little Cardita here. Look how cute that one is. And here's a little, looks like a little tiny mini, what is this? Is this a little cockle? Look how small and tiny and cute. I love the minis. You guys know that. Minis and tinies, I love them. Here's another Cardita right here. Pretty one. Oh, we got a little piece of trash here. We'll take this home. Here's another Cardita. And these are these Venus clams are another one that's common to find the letters on. So definitely check those out if you're looking for shells to form a word. They're another common shell that you'll see drilled into often. Here's a little cute little baby heart cockle right there. All right, guys, let me turn around here so you guys get a view of the beautiful water in the causeway. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode. You know, virtual shelling is all about you being able to shell from wherever you are. And the truth of the matter is, you know, some days at the beach are better than others as far as the shelling goes. Sometimes there's tons of shells and sometimes there's not tons of shells, just like fishing. Sometimes you're going to go out on a boat and you're going to go fishing and you're going to catch a ton of fish, and sometimes you don't catch any fish. But I guarantee when you come to Sanibel, you will find shells. You might not find the shells that you were hoping to find, but you will find shells if you give yourself a chance to embrace some of these more common shells and utilize them in really fun craft projects. So until next time, this is Laura signing off on the Virtual Shelling Network. I hope you have a shell-tastic day. I'll see you again soon.